Good afternoon, fellow students. My name is Emmanuel Peters, a psychology major, Air Force veteran, and I'm sure you guessed it, a Game of Thrones junkie. I have to say, I have to be honest, I was a little late getting into this show, about 8 years late. It wasn't until I got sick of hearing my coworkers talk about this show, and I had no idea what they were talking about, that I decided, hey, let me turn off the basketball game and turn on the episode of Game of Thrones. So, like it's stated in USA Today, this show it kicked off in April of 2011 and it instantly became a hit. It became a ratings juggernaut for HBO, specifically hitting the demographic of adults, the millennial adults, ages 18 to 49. And we have to put emphasis on millennial adults 18 to 49 because this show was never intended for kids, not just because of the explicit sex scenes and the grotesque violence. Game of Thrones is more about real life situations that we face as adults, everyday questions that we're faced to answer and faced to think about. Questions like, what is the most fair form of government? Or can children of awful or dreadful parents overcome their raising or upbringing? These are just a couple of questions, a couple of points hit in the show that we're forced to think about every day. There are plenty of other points in the show, but these are just a couple that I wanted to point out. So, as it was written in the Washington Post, there was a social scientist who did conducted research. His name was Joshua Ambrose. He conducted a study involving over 300 participants ages 18 to 29. The study showed a direct correlation between the Game of Thrones government and religions that that one chooses, and which political party and religion that one would choose in real life. So the correlation between the fiction and the real life. So while the experiment or the research was exploratory, the findings did show, at least in some audiences, that our beliefs and about our beliefs, our politics and religions are related to how we view the Game of Thrones fictional structures. So viewers see the houses and religions on the show as a reflection of the institutions that we interact with every day, like through memes, forums, and late night discussions on Facebook, Instagram. The everyday American could express their feelings on politics or religions as it related to Game of Thrones. So, I forgot to point out, I touched on earlier the awful parenting. Oh, wow. The parenting in this show is terrible. I'm a father of three, about to be four next month. I also work in Head Start and early childhood children, from pregnant moms to children ages 5. So when I watch this show, I'm like, wow, the parents are just straight horrible. Like if you watch the news lately or watch Dr. Phil, you know that there's some bad parenting out there. Game of Thrones takes us to a new level, new heights. Like it was stated in the Baltimore Sun. The Baltimore Sun rates it was a character named Shireen high on the good side of characters in Game of Thrones. So she is the offspring of, I don't want to keep saying terrible parents, but not so good parents. A lot of the characters in there are pretty evil, but it makes the show good. So it was just an example of that character, how you can have not so good parents, but you can turn out good. Even though she eventually herself was sacrificed by her father, but you got to see an example of a young child, even though growing up in that environment, still turning out to be good and turning out to be a beacon of light amongst people, even though growing up in that environment. So, the Game of Thrones, this show, it's an example of you get to watch. There's many other shows like this. You see shows to where they touch on real life situations, but it's entertaining, and that's how we learn as people. We learn better as when we get to have fun and we're entertained, but we still get to touch on important topics. So that's why I feel like Game of Thrones was um, iconic in popular culture because it reached so many people, especially when you talk about the age of 18 to 49. That's a wide range of people. And being able to grasp that wide range of people and get to touch on those type of topics and get you thinking and talking on topics that you usually probably wouldn't just come out straightforward and talk about. So I think that's why this makes this show like so iconic and so influential in pop culture. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thanks for watching. I would love to hear your feedback, your honest feedback, and I'll enjoy watching your presentations as well. Thank you.